Welcome everybody to another gameplay video. Now this one is quite an oldish game and it's called Zenith, and it was written in 2007 as freeware in a web-based type platform, but its footprint is actually based on a much older game called the Sentinel, which was on many 8-bit computers, the BBC, the Spectrum, but the version I played back in the day was on the Commodore 64, and it got quite a big presence when it was reviewed as being something very, very unique, but it also divided opinion, because when people started to play it, you either understood it or you didn't, or they found it very unwieldy. And we have to understand here that computers back then were not that powerful, and so moving and using lots of keys to do certain things alienated a lot of people. Now, what is the Sentinel or Zenith? Well, to put it simply, and a lot of people have tried to explain what the Sentinel is, it's a King of the Castle or King of the Hill type game with sort of entropy traits to it. So what do I mean by that? On King of the Hill, as a child's game, there used to be one person who was on top of the hill and other children trying to dethrone the person on top of the hill by whatever means they could. Now, in the Sentinel, the aim of the game is to be able to dethrone the Sentinel who is on the highest point in the game. So here is a small map of the particular level that I'm just about to play. This one seems to be quite simple, probably won't give me too many headaches. You can see I'm at the low point, the Sentinel is at the high point, and you might want to know what these trees are. Well, I mentioned the word entropy because what you basically can't do is just walk around. You have to transport yourself, and the only way to transport yourself is to have energy to create yourself somewhere else and then warp into the place that you've just created. The trees give you energy, so you absorb trees. You can then create plinths that make you higher, create a robot, warp to it, and repeat and repeat and repeat until you are at the highest point in the game and you absorb the Sentinel. So with that out of the way, we'll try and play the game. Just be advised, the Sentinel rotates round all the time, so he will scan you eventually and try to absorb you. That's the whole crux of the game. So we'll take the map off, look around a little bit so we can see where we are, and nothing happens until you make the first move. So we can see the Sentinel there, we can see the trees all around, and I'm about to start now. So I need to absorb some trees. So absorb these. Can't see that one. And yep, he's moving towards me. So I think we're going to have to look over here. Create some higher points for me. Transfer and then absorb myself. That's put me slightly higher, and as you can see, he's still turning towards me. So put some boulders down. And then transfer across and absorb the boulders and everything that I created earlier on. Now that means I can see some more trees. So I can absorb them. And now I need to see where he is. And you can see he's slowly turning towards me, but there is a higher plane just behind him, which is going to be his Achilles heel for from what I can see. There we go. And I will absorb our boulder. And there he is, looking totally away. He's absolutely powerless. And I can see his plinth. So we'll absorb him. Place a little robot. Transfer myself around, and I have now won the game. As soon as I press Q, I will warp out of this land. Now, once you do become the highest point in the game, you can't absorb anything. So I can't absorb any of my previous boulders, and this is all I will be taking through until the next level, which will be 3 boulders and a robot. So we'll press Q, and I've won the game. Quite simple really, but very, very addictive if you play lots and lots of this type of game. Now, it does ask whether I want to play the same sort of difficulty, a little bit easier, or do I want to make it more difficult? I can easily change the difficulty a little bit more. I can tweak it so that there is less resources around and make it so that he moves faster. We won't do that, but we will return and make it more difficult. So let's have a little look at this level that I'm on now. Looks like I'm on the very corner, looking at the map. Looks a little bit more difficult in regards to the landscape. Good, because the other one was quite simple. And I think we'll have a go at this one. So remember, nothing happens until I basically start the game with my first move. So there's nothing for me to absorb, and the only thing I can do is create a boulder and a robot because I can't see anything. So we'll create a boulder, create a robot, and warp. There we are, I've started. Now I should be able to see him over here and see which way he's facing. Good. We've got a little bit of time. Absorb these trees. See which way he's facing. He's going clockwise. So we've got a little bit of time. Just make sure he's still turning clockwise. Yes, he is. And I think we're going to need to go here. Now I can absorb another tree. He's definitely still moving clockwise, and that means I can start building over here. Absorb this. And just have a little look, and yes, he's powerless. He's looking in totally the wrong direction. And I can see his plinth. So we'll absorb him, create the robot, transfer over to him, have a little look around at what we've just destroyed, and basically warp. And that is the simplicity of the game. I absolutely adored this game back in the 80s. I believe that the John Valentine, who wrote this remake as freeware, really, I would have loved him to have continued to have adapted and manipulated the game, because I think it could be spiced up a little bit in regards to graphic complexity. But as it is, for freeware, I think everybody should basically get this if they've ever had any inkling of returning to a game called The Sentinel. I absolutely think it's a wonderful game. Now, if you do want to play the original Sentinel, you can still do that under emulation or on the Commodore 64 on real hardware, including Spectrum and BBCB. There was a remake called The Sentinel Returns, which came out on the PlayStation and the PC, but the PC version is incredibly hard to get to work now. And it's got a few graphical changes to it, which some people hated. It's got a John Carpenter score, so that's a positive. But apart from that, there's been very little movement on anybody trying to do something with the Sentinel. So until somebody does, this is my recommendation. I absolutely adore it, and I hope you enjoyed looking at an old game in new colours. Thanks very much. Until next time, bye-bye.